Hello and welcome to the Experiencing Love podcast. I'm your host, Philip Jocks, and I'm so glad that you're here. I have a little bit of a confession to make, an emotional one, where I don't even know how long I think I've been weighed down with fear and doubt, especially doubts. Without realizing it, I think I was questioning what I was doing and where I was. I've been feeling run down and lethargic. I haven't been wanting to work as much. I haven't been feeling driven to do what I've literally been called to do. And I feel like I have to confess all that because I come on here and speak about state and what we have in our minds and controlling our minds and controlling our emotions. And I've caught myself slipping. And if I'm being honest, I didn't catch myself alone. I had such incredible support today. I didn't realize just how much my heart has been feeling weighed down. I didn't realize how much I wasn't living in my heart. I didn't realize that I've been dragging my feet. I didn't realize all these things because I've grown to create masks around them. When something is going wrong and I'm feeling this way, I make excuses that I'm tired or that I exercised a lot the day before, so I'm just a little sore, or that my body's just asking for a break. And I just say all these things so that I don't have to confront my truth. I don't have to sit here and ask, where am I really at? Because where I'm really at is uncertain. I'm feeling uncertainty. Or it's better to say that I was feeling that way. Because I had a meeting, a mastermind meeting, with people who have become my dear, dear friends. And there was a part of me deep inside that needed to talk about what I was going through and what I was feeling. Because I didn't go into the meeting with intentions of even speaking about my feelings or how I've been showing up in the world. And I almost didn't say anything. It almost didn't come up until at the very end of the meeting, or what should have been the end of the meeting, I get asked to recount a story of a moment where I chose to give rather than feel comfortable. And I want to share that story here. It all starts with a commitment that I made to myself nearly 2 years ago. I found myself at a seminar. I found myself surrounded by some incredible people, all of which who are committed to learning and growing as people. This was actually the first seminar that I've ever been to. It was the first event of this type, of this caliber, that I've ever attended. And I fell in love with that environment. I felt like I was finally on the right track, and I felt like I was starting to finally meet my people. And it's crazy the way that the universe lines things up. It's crazy how God lines things up for me, because I had the opportunity to go to that event nearly 4 years prior. And I didn't go. At first I was interested, and then I started saying, nah, I'm good. I'm good. No thanks. That sounds weird. I don't think I'll like that. No, I'm busy this day. And I kept saying that for 4 years straight, until finally I reached a point in my life where I felt so lost, so in the dark. Back then I would describe it as I was walking around in the fog. There's fog all around me, and I only know that there's the next step in front of me. But I don't know where my life is going. I don't know what I wanted for myself. I don't know who was in front of me. I don't know what experiences or adventures I'd have. I didn't know what I want to do for work. All I knew is that I had to keep moving forward. And so the opportunity came up to go to this seminar, and I went. And it was the first in a series of seminars that build on one another. And I loved this first event so much. And it was in June of 2023, in the beginning of June. And it just so happened that at the end of that June, they'd be having their next event. It was 9 days after I finished the first one. And I really wanted to go, but the cost was way outside of my budget. The total cost of going would have been something around $2,000, maybe a little more. And it just so happened that my sister was volunteering at that first seminar with me. And at an intermission, at this break we had, she pulled me aside and asked me how I felt and how I was enjoying that event. And I looked her in the eyes and I told her how incredible it was and how I feel like I've learned so much already and that I'd love to go to the next one. And she looked at me and said, okay, what could you do to get there? And I shrugged and asked, I could ask mom and dad? You could. I could ask you guys? You could. And then I blanked, and she said, what if you had a room full of people who love and support you and would want to help you achieve your dreams? And then she looked at the crowd of people that were in the room, and immediately I got terrified. I clammed up, because what she was suggesting I do is I would stand up in front of everyone and ask for financial support. At that time, that was one of the hardest things that I could think of to do. For one, it was asking for help. And the second part was asking for financial help. At that time in my life, those were near some of the biggest things that I was afraid of. And with a focus of that weekend being taking risks in the sense of challenging ourselves and being afraid and doing things anyways, I realized that for the discipline, for myself, I had to ask. Because when she brought it up, immediately in that moment, I started saying, oh, I could find the money. I could work and do this and I'll create the money. And I remembered a little voice in my head telling me, yes, Philip, you could, but that's not what you're supposed to do. We get back into the main group, and before we carry on, I stand up, shaking, and ask if I can speak to everyone real quick. They had me pause, which was the longest 15 seconds of my life, and they handed me a microphone. And white-knuckling this microphone, I asked everyone in the room, through my tears, if they would be able to help me get to this next seminar. And I was crying so profusely that I couldn't even see through my tears, and I hung my head down, and I was just told to look up. And I saw a room full of people with their hands up, each claiming that they would love to help. And I was just filled with such gratitude in that moment for that day. And I later found out that the entire next seminar was completely paid for me by the grace and the generosity of those around me. And in that moment, I made a pledge to myself that I would always help, even if I felt I couldn't. I would always give, even when I felt I had nothing to give. Whenever someone asks for help, I give help. Because I know what it's like to feel all alone in a life filled with love and to not know what was coming next, if I would be okay. By that experience, I learned I will always be okay. And I learned to give. So fast forward to a few weeks ago, I had the opportunity, once again, to give to this incredible organization. It's an organization that saves young girls from being sex trafficked, to save young girls who feel like they have absolutely no one watching over them, no one there to help. It's an opportunity to show these girls that there are people out there that love them and care for them and want them to be safe and be happy. So because I made that promise years ago, I made that promise to myself, I knew I was going to give. And so I started asking, how much am I going to give? And at first, I said, I'm going to give $50. I'm in this place in my life where money's really tight. I'm not sure what's going to happen to me financially, but I always promise to help. So I'll give $50. And as different people are speaking and there's a presentation going on and a beautiful, beautiful video, or hearing about the girls who have been saved already, this little voice in the back of my mind chirps ever so silently, give more. Give more. And I listen to that voice and I say, I hear you. And although I'm scared, I will give more. And so I said I was going to give 100. And another minute or two goes by and the voice comes back and says, give more. Give more. And this time I started to get a little bit worried. I started to say, I really don't have that much to give, but I will give more. And I said I was going to give 200. And so the link popped up and I gave the 200. And as the minutes go by and we're watching the live counter grow, the voice comes back for a third time. And it says, Philip, now is the time to give more. Give more when you feel as though you have nothing. Give more when you have less than nothing. Only in this way will you really be blessed. And on the screen showed a number of what it takes to save a life. And that number was $500. Without much extra thought, I gave the extra $300. I rounded it out to the $500 because what that voice was telling me to do was to save a life. As much as I don't have $500 to give, it's a $500 that's worth giving to save another life. I don't regret giving whatsoever. Of all the decisions I've made over the past 2 months, that's one of those moments where not a single part of me thinks that was the wrong decision. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. And at the same time, my mind has been questioning every other decision that I've been making because I'm not sure where the money's going to come from for the rest of my life. I'm not sure how I'll make it work. And the key word is that's my mind. That's what I've been thinking. And I haven't noticed that I haven't been in my heart. I haven't been feeling the love in my life. I've been feeling so down and I've been feeling so heavy-hearted because I've been out of my heart. I'm in a place in my life, admittedly, where I'm financially not in the best place. And while there are many things that I could do to fix that, many of them are reactions out of fear, which is why I know I can't do those things. And there is one path that is different. It's the one path that faces the fear rather than runs away from it. And it's the path that I'm on. It's the path of this faith and this belief that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, exactly when I'm supposed to be. There are times that I'm terrified out of my mind. People may ask me light-hearted questions, but they don't know that it sinks so deep into me that I just ruminate on those questions for hours, if not days. Questions about me getting serious, questions about my business, and at times it feels as though I'm the only one that believes in this path, believes where I'm going. It's not true. There are people who believe in me, and when I forget those people and I forget those moments, it's easy to feel alone again. I'm not alone. I am guided. I have help. And I have people who love me and want to see me succeed. I need to remember those people, and I need to remember God. God has put me exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. After sharing this story, I feel a lightness in my heart. I shared this story with my friends before, and I remember thinking about it like it was no big deal. Making a decision like that felt like it was no big deal because when I made that promise to myself, it became a part of who I am. It became a part of my identity. My name is Philip, and I will always give to those who seek true help. I will give when I have nothing, and then I'll give even more. I will give until I have nothing, and then I will give even more. So my confession is that I'm still feeling doubts, or at least I have been, until today. Until I remembered that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. You are an incredible soul, and I thank you for being here. You make more of a difference than you even realize. You bring a light to this world that would leave the world cold and dark if it were gone. You are filled with so much love, even if you don't realize it, even if you don't feel it. Shine your light, spread your love, share it with the world, because you never know when someone like me is listening, someone who could use those encouraging words, those acts of kindness, and will be able to shine bright, shine even brighter once they've seen your light. I thank you so much for being here, and I thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. I love you.